Today is day 104 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. Today's shir is sponsored in the honor and the schus of Mayor Ben Peretz. If you would like to sponsor, if you would be willing to sponsor an upcoming Arukh HaShulchan OC shir or more, it would be greatly appreciated. Please contact me directly. Today we are doing from Siman Samach Vav Seif Daled to Siman Samach Vav Seif Tes. Okay, not so many today, but they're long. Dalit. The Dash, we talk about have sake in Kriyash Shema Brachos. The Dash says, Shu Tal Apsik Afilu Bemsa Perak Lishon Bnei Yiro Lashin Nekovat, that which you're allowed to interrupt even in the middle of a paragraph in order to inquire as to somebody's health because of fear and to respond because of honor. Miu Bemsa Shema Yisrael Bemsa Baruch Shem Uchule Lo Apsik B'Shum Panim. In the middle of the first pasuk of Shema Yisrael or in the middle of Baruch Shem, we should not interrupt no matter what. Unless there is an imminent danger to life. No, I was to him as well, but certainly to life. You should never, some people say you should never stop no pasuk. The bekal, it's easy to finish the pasuk without the person who is in front of you getting upset at you. The Mishnah Berurah writes that in the middle of the pasuk you should not stop unless the place where solik inyana, where a concept ends, and if you did interrupt, you go back to the beginning of the pasuk afterwards. When you answer kaddish or kedusha, if you cannot finish the Indian, even in the middle, you can stop even in the middle of the Indian. In other words, even in the middle of the pasuk, even in the middle of the Indian, for the purpose of kaddish or kedusha. Back to Arukh HaShulchan, who also agrees in pasuk if you did interrupt. In the middle of the pasuk, go back to the beginning of the pasuk. One also must know the place where it's permissible to interrupt. Mutar afilu b'lashon chol. It's permitted even in foreign language, not in lashon hakodesh. Makom shor also a place that's forbidden the mafsik afilu b'lashon hakodesh. Forbidden the mafsik even lashon hakodesh. V'yesh megloim shekosfu od ha'idna lorin inu mishak pidal zeklau. Those who say that say we don't find anybody who is upset if you don't answer to that extent that you're in significant soup. You're in the soup, in the hot water. No. Therefore, we shouldn't even respond shalom. And we don't even do this for our father or our rebbe. And even between paragraphs, you should not interrupt. On the contrary, now it's considered to be somebody who's light in his observance if he interrupts. We see that even a minister, if he comes to the house of a Jew, he finds in the middle of davening, not speak to him, rather wait till he finishes davening. Therefore today, today every type of hefsek is forbidden until tefillah is over. And that is the widespread minhag, and one should not deviate. If somebody happens coming to you in your place and they ask you a question about a chicken or something, Yachol Lanos ben Perak lePerak, you can answer between prakim. Bardas, but the person who has a question is a bardas, meaning this in this case somebody who is intelligent, not just over the age of barbas mitzvah or age of chinuch. You wait until you finish davening. He should wait till you finish davening, and he will wait. That's appropriate. Unless it's something which is urgent for the moment. In that case, it's a mitzvah even for bardas to ask in the middle of tefillah. And the posting stops in the middle of between perak and perak and responds to the person posing the question. It's actually happening once in the middle of Psuki the Zimra. Someone came to ask me a question halacha, and it was of moment, and I responded on the spot. So that's, but Psuki the Zimra is much easier. Here's the Kiddush is because Kriyash Shema as well. And Shema. Gimel. Before we get to this next one, before we get that, the Mishnah Berurah says, according to the minhag today, that we don't inquire after people's shalom in shul at time of davening. Today, it's forbidden to say shalom aleichem or even to respond to the divrei Torah, neither bein haprakim nor during Psukim Zimra. Again, the psak would be different. Sifhei. Im lo yolo talis l'tefillin k'sheischilus but he didn't have talis when he started davening. Oh, shachach l'nicham, he forgot to put them on. B'emtzat tefillah, which is very unlikely, but b'emtzat tefillah, in the middle of davening, bolo talis l'tefillin, the talis l'tefillin came unto him. Only iskar lehem, or he remembered about them. Pasuk Rabbeinu Beis says, "Sibei sheyochel apsik ben haprakim l'yanicham v'yivarech aleim." Beis says he can interrupt between the paragraphs and put them on and make the bracha on them. Mishnah Berurah says that which you should wait till ben haprakim is if you got the talis and tefillin in the middle of the brachas, it's orav or rabba. But if you got the tefillin in the middle of Kriya Shema, you should put it on immediately. Because every word of Kriya Shema, it's a mitzvah to say when you have tefillin on yourself. And the hanocha, you should put on with a bracha. Okay? Back to Arukh HaShulchan. But Arukh HaShulchan said, Ben HaProkim. I mean, the Beis Yosef said, Ben HaProkim, you should make a bracha on them. But Tam Pashut, the Kemen Lanichon Chayv, since you're required to put them on. Meilin Baruch Aleim, of course, you make a bracha on them. The logar mishal minei kavod, it's no worse than inquiring because of kavod. But bracha kavod mitzvah, and the bracha is the kavod of a mitzvah. But some people say you should not make a bracha until after davening. Bracha no glin talis akal shon. So there's a talis that has a minute. Klomar the yeshomim mean that some say the yeshomim feel like the yeshomim hold the came of the yochel bracha charkach, since you can make a bracha afterwards. Lama lavsik, why should you interrupt? So not necessary. And this is not, but the Arukh HaShulchan says this is not appropriate reason, sufficient reason. And the person who held this opinion actually recanted himself because it's no worse than Mipnei HaKavod. In terms of talis, you should sustain this. In other words, not make the bracha in the middle of Ben HaProkim. The came talis ain't no chobal tefillah. The talis is not mandatory tefillah. Ein meroish brachos v'tidche isur hefsek. His bracha should not push aside the prohibition of being mafsik. Aval tefillin sheim chova, but tefillin should obligatory. But badai birchasam doche. So that bracha pushes aside any issue of interruption. Tahabi can mipnei hakavod because it is like mipnei it's like mipnei hakavod as we mentioned previously. The Mishnah Berurah said initially writes that the Prima Gadim says like you pass like the Ramah that the push of the brachas on tefillin until after davening. Then he writes that where he's sitting in the basic Knesset and he's embarrassed to sit without a talis, he can make the bracha even Ben HaProkim. So Mishnah Berurah is more mako here than Arukh HaShulchan. Vav l'kadish l'kedusha l'varchu for kaddish and kedusha l'varchu, which is one kedusha obviously. Mafsik apil b'emtzah pasuk, you can interrupt even in the middle of a pasuk. We already saw the Mishnah Berurah said that before. They may cover pasuk, but I'm not seeing being interrupted before for the honor of a human being. Kav v'chomer kav v'shon, so you can interrupt for the purpose of the honor of heaven. V'zel k'meishiv v'lo kishoel, and this is like responding, not like inquiring. The game of Shkulim is Shivim Lashliach Tzibor, because everybody's responding to the Tzibor. Shiv Chosha Kodesh Baruch Hu in the praise of Hashem. Muchar Kamul Hashem, he also is compelled to respond. L'chein Gam Im Shamako Ram Uvarok. So too, if you hear the sound of a thunder or you see lightning, L'chuyav L'varech Ap Emtza Pasuk Mitam Shenischa in his bar. You have to make a bracha in the middle of a pasuk. So Gam Ki Kameshiv Shlo Kishol, that it's also like responding, not like inquiring. Mishnah Berurah says that some say that you should not make a bracha on thunder lightning unless it's Ben HaProkim, and that the Chai Hodam holds that way as well. So there is, Mishnah Berurah in this case is more machmir. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. V'chein mafsik l'modim. You also interrupt for modim. Avo lo yomar rak modim anach lulach b'l yosef. You should only say the words modim anach lulach, not more than that. The rest of the modim rabbanan is only supplications which are not essential. The last you should not interrupt for them. You should not answer more than only up to Yizbarach. And Mishnah Berurah says not even to say Yizbarach, just a Meni Yishmei Rabba and Barach. Shari Amen Shabakadish Lo Yaneh. Other Amen Mekadosh should not respond. Shani Mikra Kaddish. They're not essential to Kaddish. Rak Amen the Shachar Damiron Ba'omo Yaneh. The last one, the Chatzi Kaddish, appears in the Kaddish Sholem. You answer only that one and not the subsequent ones. Zel Mikra Kaddish. That's an essential part of the Kaddish. The Gam Kedusha Yeshim Shlo Yaneh Rak Kadosh Ubarach V'Lo Yimloch. Shein Mikra Kedusha. They only say Kadosh Ubarach and not Yimloch because that is not from the Kedusha. Chem Mashma Tosefta. And that is the indication of Tosefta. Yesh omrim she'aneh gam yiloch. Some say she'ol same loch. Of course, it's not Parakdusha because it's a pasuk in Tehillim as opposed to the other pasukim, which are pasukim from Yeshaya, from the Ma'aseh Merkava. Yesh she'aneh gam yiloch. Some people say you should also answer Amen. Yimloch, sorry. And he says, fascinating, Arukh HaShulchan, there's no clarity, no determination in this. Yochol lasos kiritzo, no. He can do as he pleases. Mishnah Berurah only says that it says only say Kadosh and Baruch, and that's what I do. But I remember I had brought this up years ago when I was in Chicago in Bnei Ruven, which is Lubavitch Shul, and Chabad does say Yimloch. So I know that must be that the Balatani holds to say Yimloch. Miu zeu vadai, but this says Arukh HaShulchan for sure. Mekadesh o nakdishcha o keser, the first introductory prologue. Lo yamar klal yishna seiro rak yaschil mi kadosh. Should start from kadosh. Chem b'shavs yontav shall receive oz bekol mimkomcha umusab kvoda mole olam mimkomo v'chulei u'shma Yisrael. All those things lo yanesh en meir kadusha. Just the verses from Tanakh. Shema Yisrael nearly shi'aneh. But Shema Yisrael says you should answer. Okay, Mishkulim Kabli Yom Omach Shamayim. There's areas Kab Omach Shamayim in the Shema in the Kaddish Musaf. By saying Shema, Yaneh Ad Echad. You should say up to Echad Am Das Rabbeinu. But it says it. They receive Hey, receive Mesamachei, receive Vav Lev Sik Ayin Sham. But it says if this agrees he writes that Armin is not being mafsik, and the Mishnah Berurah writes that even Ben HaProkim we should not be mafsik, but say the words in the Nigun that the Tzibur says Shema. So Machlekes here, Virginia, Mishnah Berurah, and Arukh HaShulchan, whether you can say the Shema Yisrael Musaf Kedusha in the middle of Birchas Kriyashma or not. Mishnah Berurah says not. The Arukh HaShulchan says yes. Okay. That's basically, it comes out like we said before, like the Arukh HaShulchan said about Yimloch. So it would come out that Ve'en achrab is that Yuchal Asos with Kersona between Arukh HaShulchan and Mishnah Berurah, who is going to be Machriah. Zion. V'chein Kriyas HaTorah Kshola Mer Baruch Hu. Kriyas HaTorah when the Olah says Baruch Hu, Yaneh Baruch Hashem Baruch Hu, you should answer Baruch Hashem Hu. Aval Amen Lo Yaneh, but don't answer Amen. V'chein kol min amen asur lanos. Any type of amen you're not allowed to answer. Obviously, we said before the amen in the second paragraph of Kaddish you can. Mishnah Berurah says that amen after Birchas Torah, some people you can answer, but some people disagree with this. In a prokem you could be meko. In terms of amen, all of the brachas he brings down the Chai Adam says it's only permissible to answer amen of the bracha that he just a bracha that he himself has already completed with the Prima Godim, etc. Agree that any amen you're allowed to answer, but Bein HaProkim. Okay, so Bein HaProkim is much more lenient. In the middle of the Prokim, obviously, is much more stringent. Arukh HaShulchan goes on. Even though it's the honor of heaven to answer. Nevertheless, Gam Hu Asuk b'Kavod Shemayim. His davening is also Kavod Shemayim. B'Rakid Dvarim Sheish B'Hem Kedushas Hashem. Only things which have the sanctification of God's name. Shein Emarim Ela B'Sarah. That can only be said by 10. Mokadosh Kedusha Baruch Hu Modim Mechuyev L'Hafsik. These things you have to interrupt. Like Disho Yisbarachim Kulam and sanctify him with everybody. The low b'amedim and not in amaze. We come, nevertheless, because like Rabbeinu Ramah, the Siva came over, the Ramah says, Chaim be'baruch hu lo yamar amen, lo yamar is baruch yishtav v'chulei. That's paragraph next to baruch hu that none of us say anyway. יש עומד השונים אחר ברכס הקהל הקדוש, ואחר שומע תפילה, יש לזה דין קדושה. יכול להנוס עושם בקריאת שמע וכן עיקר, Lamin Akel Kodesh, Lamin Shemet Tefillah have a special level above the other remains, and there we can have them in the middle of Kriya Shema and its brachos. Chanemilim Mafsidim Mikava Chomer Shomer Tachanunim. This is we interrupt all with all these things as Kav Chomer from when we interrupt Elokai Nitzor. He says, so if in Elokai Nitzor we stop for a Kel Kodesh Shemet Tefillah to answer Amen, certainly being the Birchos Kriya Shema, and that is the Minhag Olam, to answer the selected Amens, not every Amen, including the Amens of Kel Kodesh Shemet Tefillah. Ches, but he's Arukh HaShulchan then attacks this. He says, these two Amens different. In some states because they're the end of a concept. So Shosh Rishos, the end of the three first brachas, Sof brachas and Tzilos, and the end of the middle brachas. According to this, also the last bracha you should answer Amen. Although the Mishnah Berurah says that most Achronim have agreed not to answer Amen after that, or at least a lot of Achronim. I don't understand this anyway. This is not a davar shebekdusha. These are mains. Maybe a Kel Kodesh is included in kedusha, but Amen Shemet Tefillah Bade Eno in kedusha. Maybe Shemet Tefillah Suli is not do kedusha. V'zeu she'eviu mirushalmi perak Tfilas HaShachar v'shnei Amenim elu yoser chova la'anos. That these two Amenim are more obligatory to answer. They come aids in and have sockets. No, it doesn't justify interrupting. But Makom Shas of second place, it's forbidden to interrupt. The Rabbeinu Ramon before sheyesh leil din kedusha. They don't move on cloud. The Arukh HaShulchan is not happy with the. The Arukh HaShulchan is not happy with this Ramah. Lamas Rabbeinu says he will go cholik b'zayin sham, and the base says he argues. The Tamo, it seems that his reason is shehu lefi shuzeu. No, it's the Ramah's reason. Is that shezeu shevach chlali. These are general praises, not specific ones, like the other brachos. Shu kadosh, that he is holy. The shomer tefillas companion listens to all tefillos. Therefore, dam iktsas kedushas Hashem. Since they're so broad, they're similar to kedushas Hashem. It's not like all the amens which are for specific brachos. Interesting perspective. There is a long brackets here. The dan you should know Shamogin Avram Sifkotim Vav Kosav Al Birchas Torah Oner Baruch Hashem. V'gam Amen Akan L'Shonim. Birchas Torah answer Baruch Hashem. Whatever that means. And also got Amen. Appear Shavushei Srad V'zeu Al Amen Shachar Baruch Hashem V'chulei. Share after Baruch Hashem. I'm not sure which Baruch Hashem is referring to. But Tiani the Ein B'vur B'shum Makom Sheyesh Lo Anos Amen Achar Baruch Hashem Am Baruch. Okay, so that's the same. Baruch Hashem Am Baruch, and he says there's no place where it says the same. When the Yen Hashem came before Shpez of Kadmon, I remember that I saw this in some ancient source. We don't answer this the Amen at all. The Amen Achshachar no say not Torah. Amen after no say Torah. By the time they came in, Tivsik we should Baruch Hashem Am Baruch, since he stopped for the Baruch Hashem Baruch at the beginning of the Aliyah, you'll have to say B'yachad Gam B'Shmu Amen. It's a package deal. Also, I'll be mavsik for the Amen. Siyog L'zeh Yesh Mizochin Lam Beis. The whole of Hutar Tzarato, Hutar L'Kerio. Since you're mutter for your leprosy, you're mutter also for your mission Ayin Sham. Kamakam Gam Zeh Tzarachi, and this requires further analysis. As I said, the Minhag Olam is to interrupt for Kel Kodesh and Shemet Tefillah, and even though the Arukh HaShulchan does not seem so happy about it. Test. Kohen was reading Shema, and they call him out for Aliyah. Some people say he interrupts and takes the Aliyah. Those say somebody else should take the Aliyah. Anybody says that somebody else should take the Aliyah, you don't interrupt. The great some of the great Achronim Kosu Noagim Lapsik there is a minute to interrupt. That is Levush and the Magen Avraham. Rak Oz Lo Yikrei Makori. You should not read word for word with the Korei. Koshkin Shlomar Misha Lo Yamar Lasos Mishberach. You certainly should not tell the Gabe to make a Mishaberach for him. Mishabur adds that in the middle of Mishaberach, the Chazan forgets his name and asks him what his name is. You can respond because it's Mitnei HaKavod, which is very cute. The Sfaradim are very makbid on being able on laning together with the with the Baal Kriya. I'm not sure if they would agree with this Salah or this Arukh HaShulchan. Going on, Yesher Kriya the Kriya Shema Lo Yalet in Shema Itzav should not go up. Abiras Kriya Shema Yalet, but in the brachos you can. That's the Taz. But then you show the after coin. It's not just a coin. Do I think Levi Yisrael? Whoever gets caught from the Liyah. Usually, it seems to me the ain't coin acher beis haknesses. If there's no other coin, pshit yishala, your son should go up. Chain Levi, you mean Levi acher, and so to Levi, there's no other Levi. Pashul the kovazeh uksha omei be'emtza parak is only in the middle of the parak that we are unclear to begin with. Avo bein parak the parak, but between plakim, you certainly should go up, no question. If you can finish parak as you're walking up to the bima, you should do that. Between gula and tefillah, no matter what, you don't go up. And go up like the Gedolei Achronim. And the Mishnah writes the same thing, even in the middle of Kriya Shema, the minhag is to go up, except for the first pasuk, Baruch Shem, should not be enough in the middle. Of course, you can complete them as you are walking. Also, they should not call him, even if it's Birkos Kriya Shema. So you're not Kriya Shema, and even Ben Aprakim. And even if there's no other Kohen Levi, they still shouldn't call him. Some say if there's no other Kohen except for himself, and it's Ben Aprakim, they should come up. It's better for the Kohen, however, to leave the shul to remove all doubt. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. Should immediately go down after the second bracha. Even though the custom is for the Ola to wait until when the person getting the next aliyah completes his aliyah. Here, we're in the middle of the parak. You raid me, yad, go down immediately. We already explained if it says a great hefsek, even a long hefsek, that he could complete the entire thing. Don't go back to being or rather the place where you were. Having got low mikre oines is not called an oines ayin shom.